Hello, hello. I'm Debbie Danford from craftyourcreations.blogspot.com. And today I am coming to you. Well, first off, let's say happy Tuesday. I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. I had plans to get a lot more done out here in my craft room, and it didn't necessarily work out. Grandkids were over this weekend, so we did a lot of other things. But anyway, so today what I'm coming to you with is something a little different. Now, here's my original card, and we made this last week at the beginner class that I do at the Stille Valley Community Center. And I had pre-die cut these, and this is a retired, I don't even remember the name of the paper now. And it's not available anymore, so it is actually sold out. It's not even on last chance. But very simple. Well, then I got to thinking, what paper do we have that's foil, that's not like just gold or silver, that would work really well to do the same thing? And then I pulled out the Thoughtful, it's called Thoughtful Designs, and it's this paper here. Now, you're not going to see the full sheets, but it varies in color. It goes from like one color on up to another color on each sheet here, and you've got lots of different colors that come in each one of these. Okay, so what I ended up doing, and I'll read all the colors off because I have another pack here that's you've got Cajun Craze, Calypso Coral, Lost Lagoon, Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow, Petunia Pop, Pretty Peacock, and Wild Wheat, which Wild Wheat did go away, but that packet of paper is still available. It's not even on last chance. Anyway, so I've done one of each. Now, as you're cutting on this paper, you do have to remember that the color does change a little bit depending on where you're at. Like, I don't know if you can tell here. So this has a silver foil background, a little bit darker Pretty Peacock up here, and then it gets lighter up here. And of course, I've already cut off of this end here, because we're going to make one in this color. We're going to make two of these today. But that just gives you an idea. So here's this one I did out of Highland Heather. Now, I did this a little different than I did my original. I embossed it with the corrugated 3D embossing folder, which, by the way, is back in stock. And then I blended some ink on it, just put a strip here, and then glued down, die cut this die. So this die is from the set, the Mixed Florals set. It's a bonus die that's in there. It doesn't coordinate with any stamp set in there, but it's a bonus die. But I like what you can do with it on its own. And there's a lot of papers we have that really would work well with that. And then I used, this is the smallest die from the Textured Notes die. Smallest meaning width-wise, not length, because there is one that's smaller this way, but I think it's a little bit bigger this way. But this works great for a lot of the phrases in the new Blooming Phrases set. So this one is not. This one's from Simply Said, because the happy birthday out of this set is 2 words, and I couldn't fit it along the bottom. So I was pulling in a lot of these, and they fit quite well. So that's what that's from. So this one's the Highland Heather, and I pulled this from the Simply Said, and that's Happy Birthday there. And then on the inside, I kept them very simple. A couple of the strips of the Designer Series paper. This one is the Fresh Freesia. Here's the Celebrate. But isn't this packet, like, you could bundle all these up. Here's Calypso Coral, right? Yes, Calypso Coral. Had to think for a minute. Now, honestly, I think some of this paper in here is a little bit more of the Cajun Craze, but I had already pulled out Calypso Coral, and it goes fine. But I do think Cajun Craze would have maybe coordinated a little bit better. Mossy Meadow and Lost Lagoon. So we're going to make a couple of these today. Easy peasy cards to make, but I love how they all turned out. And like I said, it's just with this one die. Now, this Mixed Florals bundle. So this is what it looks like. It's an online exclusive. Let me pull it out. And this is what my monthly club had voted on for May. And if you're not part of my monthly club and you're interested in joining, I'll have the link below. And I have one more packet for May. If you are interested, you could sign up and you could get this one. But there's dies that coordinate with all of these and all the little ladybugs. And then you have this one bonus die, which I think is great. Like I said, I thought it turned out great. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and let's make some of these cards, right? This is what we want to do. We want to stamp. Now, I've already got things pre-ready, I guess you could say. So I've already embossed this with it's just a piece of basic white, 4 by 5 1/4. I embossed it with the corrugated embossing folder. And we're just going to bring in our fresh freesia here. And I'm going to bring in a scrap piece only because I just like to clean off a little bit so it's not too dark on here. Make sure I'm in the camera here. And I'm just kind of quickly going over this. You can color parts of it. You can color all of it. Now, you could put the ink down first and then emboss. I just wanted to get the embossing done first so we didn't have to, like, watch me just emboss a piece of the corrugated here, or a piece of the basic white onto the corrugated. Okay, I already did stamp my phrase and die cut, so that piece is already done. I just love how this die fits a lot of those stamps in that set. That makes it awesome. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to pull in, I have a scrap here, and that little half inch piece of designer series paper, and we're going to put that right there along the edge. Now, you could cut it wider if you wanted, but I wouldn't go too wide because you want to make sure you have room to put that die cut on it, because it is a rather big, it's a rather large die, actually, once you die cut with it. And the one little tip almost sticks out past the card, depending on where you place it. Okay, so there's that. Now, if you wanted to, you could use our two-sided sticky paper when you die cut this. I didn't do it. I always forget about it. You'd think I'd have it out over there by my die cut machine, and maybe that's where I should put it so I don't forget about it. But when we did this card in class and it was fine there, I just literally use my mono glue. Now, if you have a fine tip glue pen, that will work too. But I have gotten really good at just dabbing little parts and pieces here of, because you don't have to cover the whole thing. You just want enough that it's going to stick. Okay. So, and of course, then I don't want to touch it where I've put glue. I'm going to put a little bit down here, and I think I missed a little there. Okay. And then literally you just lay it down. You can come all the way down to the bottom, or I come like one little groove up, I guess you could say. And I'm very careful about not bending it. I get out a block. You could get out the big block if you wanted. And just kind of lay that down on top. We'll leave that sit there while we assemble the rest of the card. So what we're going to do here, oh shoot. Well, I forgot my adhesive just ran out. This is going to go behind here. And all we want is, see if I can do this with glue, is I just had a little portion sticking out just like that. Okay, there's that. And then on the inside, let's see, did I not cut a piece? Oh, I guess I didn't. So let's bring in the paper here. And we're going to cut, see, this is off of this end. So what I'm going to do, oh wait, is this it? This might be it. Oh yeah, I think it is. So we're just, I do have a piece. We're going to use this end of it right here for the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4, and then I'm going to cut this down. I'm going to cut it in half so we have 2 little strips. And then we'll put 2 strips on here. Okay. All right, so we're just going to add these, if I can hang on to it. I'm kind of keeping the pattern together there, at least I'm trying to. Oh well, it might have gone to the other end, I don't know. All right, so then this will go here. Okay, there's our inside piece. We don't need that. All right, so let's do some assembly here. I think this is good. Let's close this up so we don't drop anything in it, because I could do that. Now with this 3D, because this one pops up, you know, really much thicker, I guess is what I'm trying to say today. I use glue, so you kind of get it all in the grooves there. And then we're going to pop this up with dimensionals. Okay. And then this will go right here along the bottom is where I put this, just like that. Now, those of you that are watching that made this card, see, now you can get some of this other foil paper and make some more. Because isn't it so pretty? And then we'll attach our inside piece. We'll go right here. And then we fold. I work on a flat surface when I do my cards, and then I burnish it really good. Okay, so there's number 1. Bling. I was using some other bling when I made the first card, but then I found these are the adhesive backed metallic gems, but we have gold and silver, and the silver went perfect with the silver in the foil paper. So those worked great. Okay, so there's our first card. Let's go ahead and do one more. This time we're going to use Lost Lagoon, and I did Celebrate this time. So let's bring in our Lost Lagoon. And again, we're just going to ink this up. Start off a little bit on the side so that we don't have a big blotch in the middle. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, and now we can close that up. Since I've already stamped our phrase and die cut that, we have that ready to go. Now let's do a little bit of assembly here. So first we're going to attach this piece here to here. I always just kind of measure, mark my finger, and that's where I end the glue, and then I trim it off. You can trim it first if you want. Whoops. Okay, and these are my like gluey, crappy scissors I use for cutting dimensionals and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so this is going to go on here, but let's go ahead and glue this down first. And when you pull these out of the die, you do want to make sure you poke all the little holes and then pull it out gently, because it does stick in, or at least on my die, it sticks in there pretty tight. So you want to be very careful when you're pulling it out so that you don't rip your die as you pull it back out. Okay, so we're just putting a little bit of glue. And I think that's probably good. And let's just lay this down here. Again, I come down close to the bottom. Like the first little groove of the embossing folder is a good marker, I guess you could say. Ah! See, don't do that. Clearly I had glue on my hand and it stuck to that. So let's lay this back down here. That's why I put a block on it usually right away, because then I'm not sticking my hand. There we go. Okay. We'll do the inside way. That sits there for a minute. And let's go ahead and I got to grab an inside piece. And then we will take this piece here and I'm going to cut it in half. And then we'll put that on the inside. And you know, I've had this paper for a long time and I could never really figure out what I wanted to do with it. So I was quite pleased with myself when I started thinking about that die and the card we had made the other day. And I thought, ah, this will work perfect. Okay, there's that one. And then let's put this one down. Okay. I had a little excess glue there. And then we trim that off. Throw those little scraps away. Okay, that will be our inside piece. Now we should be able to pull that. And then let's go ahead. Oh, we didn't attach that yet. I was thinking I had already attached it. Can't believe I forgot to fill up my tape runner. Normally I would put tape. I'd use my Stampin' Seal Plus right here, not glue. But I forgot to fill it up. I had just run out too. And honestly, you don't have to put that little piece on the bottom. I just felt like it added a little bit of extra texture to the front of the card by adding another little piece there. Kind of tied all the colors in. Now my fingers are all sticky. All right, so there's that. Then we will take this. And we're just going to attach it right here along the bottom. Okay, then let's just assemble to the card base now. We'll just attach this to the front. And then attach this to the inside. And look how quick this goes with, you know, really what took the longest, just die cutting all the colors. But once you get them all die cut, it's really an easy assembly card. Okay, there's our inside. And burnish that. I'm just using my fingernail right now. Because this piece sticks up a little more than normal because it's corrugated. Let's see, magic eraser. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and there we go. There's the two we just made today. Whoops, bling. Blingity bling. We don't want to forget our bling. And yes, we did put, I was going to say, we didn't put bling on our original card that I did at the Stille Valley Center, but we did. Okay, there's that. There's our two from today, Fresh Freesia and Lost Lagoon. And then here's all 5 of the color combinations that I did here. We have Mossy Meadow. I don't even know if I have a favorite. Now, when you look at the paper, let me bring the paper back in. You definitely have, like, this piece down here would do you could blend that with, like, the Misty Moonlight, because that's another one of the colors in there. This, to me, still stays very Lost Lagoon, but you could bring in Pretty Peacock here. And then this is where the Wild Wheat came in, along with the Mossy Meadow. But you could put this with, even this corner here could still go with the Mossy Meadow. That would still look really good with that. This is more of the Cajun Craze, I feel like now. I think it was more Calypso Coral down here, and then it goes up into the Cajun Craze. And then this is like Fresh Freesia, and it goes into, I want to say, a lighter Calypso Coral up here, but because there's not another Lost Lagoon, Misty Moonlight, Mossy Meadow. Oh, Petunia Pop. That's what kind of comes in here, is some Petunia Pop there too. Anyway, if you have some of this paper, now you know what you can do with it. If you've been like, I don't know what to do with it. Now you know. You can die cut this one little die and make a very, very beautiful card. All right, thanks so much, guys, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to please, gosh, I can't even talk today. Don't forget to like, follow, and share. I really appreciate it when everybody does that, and I will see you again on Thursday. Bye, guys.